Just checking my cell phones. I'd ask that you do the same if you don't mind. So this is the November 12th, 2024 Hardin County Fiscal Court regular voting meeting. So let's begin and call this meeting to order. Let's start with a roll call.
Squire Clem.
Here.
Squire Hicks.
Here.
Squire Muse.
Here.
Squire Pennington.
Here.
Squire Saltzman.
Here.
Squire Thompson.
Here.
Squire Whitehead.
Here.
Excuse me. Squire Yates.
Here.
Judge Tall.
Here. Next, we'll have our invocation by Magistrate Yates, Pledge of Allegiance by Magistrate Saltzman.
Pray with me, please. Heavenly Father, we come before you today with grateful hearts, honored to serve our community and mindful of the responsibilities we hold. We ask you for your wisdom and guidance as we discuss and make decisions in this meeting. May our conversations be filled with respect, understanding, and the spirit of unity as we work together for the good of all. Today, we also want to pause and express our deepest gratitude to the men and women who have served in our armed forces. We thank you for each veteran's sacrifice, courage, and dedication to protecting our freedom and securing our safety. May they feel honored and appreciated, not only today, but every day. We lift up a special prayer for Allison, our dear colleague who is facing a serious illness. Lord, we ask that you wrap your arms of healing and comfort around her, strengthen her body, renew her spirit, and fill her with hope. Be with her family, friends, and medical team as they support her through this journey. We place all these requests in your compassionate hands. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Come in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. It's good to see everyone here today. Appreciate our Mayor, Cerisi, being here, and our Senator Matt Deneen is here today with us, so thank you for joining us. Appreciate that. All right, so I'll just review the agenda. A fairly simple agenda today, it looks like. We have, next we will approve the minutes from last meeting. We have some department reports. We have time of citizens' concerns or comments. I have ordinances, one ordinance to have a second reading on, and then the rest are in the consent agenda, which I'll cover in detail when the time comes. And we have our time of comments, and then we'll adjourn for the day. All right, so let's just move on to the next item of business. And we have approval of our Hardin County Fiscal Court October 22nd, 2024 minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Who seconded over here?
Second.
E.G. Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, we'll have roll call.
Squire Clem.
Yes.
Squire Hicks.
Yes.
Squire Muse.
Yes.
Squire Pennington.
Yes.
Squire Saltzman.
Yes.
Squire Thompson.
Yes.
Squire Squire Whitehead.
Yes.
Squire Yates.
Yes.
Judge Tall.
Yes, motion passes. All right, next we'll move on to our department or office reports. It looks like our first one up is planning by Adam King.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
All right, I've got September and October. Start off with some items that went before the Board of Adjustments. So this is in downtown Glendale, property owner's Improv Properties, and this was a variance request from both side setbacks. Amazingly, it met the front setback, which is unique for downtown Glendale. But a variance from both side setbacks, and essentially they were going to take that home there on the top left corner, built circa 1900, and basically completely remodel it, raise the roof on it. I don't know that anything would be original outside the footer, which that was going to need to be repaired as well. But that variance was approved by the Board of Adjustments. Next, this is going to be a home occupation. Ray Hedrick out on Burns Road, been doing business out there quite some time, out of that detached garage, formerly Ray's Plumbing, now known as Platinum Service Pros. So the Board of Adjustment did approve that. That was a renewal. Another conditional use permit renewal for a home occupation. This was Mr. Ern Spiker. Has a woodworking business out on Nacky Pike Road outside of Cecilia. So this one, again, in a detached pole building there. This one was also approved. And then this is the last item for the Board of Adjustment, but the Old Farmhouse Inn and Wedding Venue out just off the roundabout in Ronnieville for a bed and breakfast and also a wedding and event venue there. That was also a renewal. A couple items that went before the Planning Commission. So this was the Caswell property down in Upton, an 18.1 acre portion of that property to allow for expansion of the Heidelberg Materials rock quarry down there. So that zone change request from rural residential R2 to heavy industrial I2 was approved. The conditional use permit request was continued while Mark Absher and I waited on some additional information from them, waiting on some data regarding the depth of how far they were going to be mining. This was a zone change request in just outside of downtown Glendale. These were the Beavers family. Zone change request from R2 to C2 with no project proposed. 17 acre site as well as a 37.8 acre site. This request was approved. You all will probably be familiar looking at the map, but this will be the route of the new Northeast Glendale bypass. So the zoning was approved to commercial. The next slide here, I'm still waiting on word from the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. We're supposed to have it this month, but there are 3 alternatives shown there on your screen. All 3 alternatives do heavily impact the Beavers property, but they were getting their zoning in place, and we're just waiting on word from the Transportation Cabinet on which of those 3 routes it will take. And more so than a normal just zone change request, as you all will probably remember back in December, the Planning Commission was awarded a $100,000 grant from the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet to do a small area plan for Glendale. We had an initial meeting back in April, and essentially we've been on hold until that route is chosen. But this is one of the preliminary maps here. Again, this would be subject to change, but kind of as of that April meeting, we were calling this the Kentucky 222 corridor. We knew the bypass would be somewhere in that unshaded region, but waiting on the Transportation Cabinet to choose that route, and then excited to start working on that this winter. Again, per usual, we'll have a lot of public input and some public meetings down in Glendale. Looking at the various land use applications through the end of October, 14 zone changes so far, 19 conditional use permits, and 18 variances, so it's been a busy year. Looking at plats and lots, we are at 105 plats recorded for the year. How that compares to 2023, we were at 73. Likewise with the number of lots, 141 new lots for the year. That compares to 2023, we were at 64 at this time, so over double. Looking at permits, building permits through the end of October, we were at 480. That compares to 466 for 2023 and 445 for 2022. So again, numbers are up, not quite as much as on the land use side, but definitely up. And then 833 electrical permits for the year. That also would include the incorporated areas of Sonora and Upton, as well as LaRue County. Single-family dwellings. So through the end of October, 123. compares to 95 in '23, 98 in '22, and 110 in '21. So those numbers are up as well. Look at inspections, 1,123 final inspections for the year. Kind of telling here, and again, some of it's related to the weather, but September 27 footers, October 45 footers, rough electrical inspections 36 for September and 50 to October. So we're kind of at that point in time when folks are trying to get something under roof to work on all winter. And then lastly, just want to congratulate some members of my staff. Rachel Durding with 1 year, electrical inspector Greg Carwile with 2 years, Susan Bowen with 11 years, Jimmy Morgan with 17 years, and then last but certainly not least, Madeline Hornback with 32 years of service. So it's just kind of a coincidence that these all hit in November. So that's all I've got. Happy to answer any questions.
Congrats on your staff. Not very many staffs as hard working as your group is. We really appreciate them.
I appreciate that.
Anybody else? All right, thank you very much for the report.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
Next is Public Works, Stephanie Givens.
Good afternoon, Judge and Magistrates.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So I have your solid waste and code enforcement updates for September and October. It's a little touchy. So the first slide here gives you the September and October cases that were brought in. For September on code enforcement, we have 5 new cases. 10 of those were closed out. It left us with 27 outstanding. And then for October, we had 13 new cases. 6 of those were closed out, and that leaves 34 outstanding cases rolling into November. This is the breakdown of all of those cases that will explain a little bit more on what the complaints were or what the issue was with the property. On our shredding events, we have year-to-date total was 452 vehicles and 497 bags. For September, we had same even number, 33 bags as well as 33 vehicles. October, we had 49 bags and 48 vehicles. So this is the breakdown and the comparison. We started this program in May of 2022, and it just gives you an idea on how much the general public is liking this program and coming to see us for this only 1 hour that we do this every month. On our recycling totals for the month of September, we had 39 trailer runs, and the month of October, we had 40 trailer runs. And then you can see the breakdown on what was collected within those trailers. And it looks like we had a little over 55 tons of material in September with, I believe, 67 tons there in October. On our deceased farm animal removal for the month of September, we had 17 animals picked up, and the month of October, we had 24. And this is the comparison breakdown for that time frame. For year-to-date totals, 2023, we were at 171 at this time, and for 2024, we're at 177. So we just have about 6 more additional animals that we've picked up so far. On platform waste collections, that is in the unincorporated area of the county, this gives you an idea on their average completion time throughout the week. They're averaging to be done by 5 p.m., but most of the time it's done by about 4:45, it looks like. And they're averaging about 1,600 tons of trash going into the Hardin County landfill per month. This is our information for the landfill coming up. The next Saturday that they will be open is going to be November 30th. Then the following Saturday would be the December 28th time frame from 7 to 2. Just to give a little reminder to make sure that all loads are secured and tarped when they come down the expressways there coming into the landfill. And there's the phone number in case they have additional questions. For upcoming events, our next shred day is going to be on Monday, December the 2nd from 1 to 2 at the County Road Department on Bacon Creek Road. And you can come in and get a shred bag from us at the Hardin County Department, the Solid Waste Department at Suite 223 if you don't have one already. And this is a breakdown of our website right now on how many people average are clicking on to find where the recycle trailers are located. So it looks like we're getting about 42 clicks per day. And from October 5th through November 5th, that's about 1,276 people that have researched to find out what is the closest trailer to the location where they were. So the trailers are definitely much appreciated. We're getting lots of volumes through those trailers. A lot of people like those trailers. This next slide here gives the locations of the trailers. Once again, it is also on our website. But just as a reminder, we did move the E-Town Lions Club trailer over to 808 North Mulberry Street, and that's located here on the spreadsheet, listed as Elizabethtown location. That is directly across the street from the Mr. Gaddy's there in town. This slide is for household hazardous waste event that we did. We finally got our numbers and everything back from the vendor that took care of us. And a comparison from 2023 to 2024, you can see there we had a few more cars this year, but we were actually down a few pounds in this year compared to last year. So again, it just really depends on how much each vehicle is bringing in. Some bring quite a bit, and some may just show up to bring in prescription drugs to get rid of. So that gives you an idea on how many pounds of items that we took that didn't go to our landfill. Any questions?
I like that tracking information that you provided on the recycling program. It just goes to show how well that's going and the need here in Hardin County.
Yes,
good
for sure.
information.
Thank you.
Thanks for reporting to the Time Warner platform is trying to finish up their runs. I mean,
Yes.
it's something that we haven't tracked that long, and for them to generally be done before 5 p.m. is a safer time. Obviously, we don't want them out at dusk or dark, if at all possible.
Especially now with the time change, it's getting dark so early, so I have really encouraged them to do whatever necessary needs as possible to get those guys done before it's dark. You know, the ones that are subdivisions in the unincorporated area aren't too terrible because there's a lot more light activity here closer to the city limits, but out in the county, when it's dark, it's pitch black. So we're really encouraging them to even vamp up and get a little bit sooner on their time frames as well going into the winter months.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next is engineering. Mark Absher.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Good evening. What was that?
Good afternoon.
Oh. There's a lot of words on my slides, so I promise I'm not going to read them verbatim. I think they were already given to you in PDF format, so I'm going to adjust this. I guess I'm short. We'll go through the first one. That's the project next door, the 150. It's right next to us. In that area there, we had a little bit of erosion in the backside, but John was able to get some one of the vendors to come out and actually repaired those places. We put some additional mulching on top of it. But Ron Hart and John Bowen, I got to give them credit. It's them going in there, and of course, road department letting us use their equipment to do this. It was like a team effort to get those erosions kind of knocked out, and then we'll see how it does. It's looking really good. It's starting to turn green more than just the mulch areas. And then YMCA, I think we just had a meeting on that. We probably won't have that on anymore unless y'all need me to work on more stuff on it and stuff. But I think it's a done deal at this point. And then road safety review, I asked them again, hey, what's the status? And they said, we're working on it, Mark. So sorry, can't give more than that. But and then, of course, this is our GIS, and this is Nick's kind of bivouac. And you can see there he does a lot of flying, a lot of drone operations. He does a lot of map use and stuff. Some of these presentations are, some of the mapping is from his. And then this drone flight here is one he recently flew down there in Glendale. And of course, this is kind of a lot of language here, but the nuts and bolts of it is how many subdivisions, development reviews we look at. Sometimes we'll get like big requests, like, hey, can you look over this whole entire plan set? It just is a preliminary review, and so we'll do that, and just little stuff here and there. Part of this thing too is the area studies. You'll see the South Hardin County wastewater study. We've been working with a consultant on that, and they're going to do a presentation at the Public Works Committee meeting, and so he'll have that up on the TV. Hopefully, we've been working with Aaron on that too to help kind of get that wrapped up. I'll go through the rest of these. This is a site erosion control. What I wanted to do is the EPA put out a website, information website, where you can actually go to their site. And then what I did is I took their information and reduced it down to kind of simpler terms and stuff. But it just kind of gives you a site of what all goes involved, whatever is involved with site erosion control from a site control. And that goes back to MS4, stormwater quality analysis, stuff like that. So, and it's part of the stuff we try to get out there to people. I still ran into somebody the other day that didn't realize they had to do an NOI. So we're working on that. And of course, traffic items, you all are fully aware there's a lot going on in the Hardin County. And I try to cover that in the general terms, but you can see what it may do in the future is add like a little description of each location and link it back to their website too to kind of get you more in the know of what they're planning on doing out there. And then, of course, there's meetings, organizations, and it's kind of messed me up, to be honest, because I keep thinking it's just October, but I still have stuff in there from September. Like, okay, I got to make sure I keep the September stuff on there, too. So it's a little more than just this month alone. And then, of course, at the end of the slide, this coming week, in December, the first week, 2 to 6, is Older Driver Safety Awareness Week, and that's from the Federal Highway Administration. So there's some website down at the bottom. It says some stuff to kind of take into consideration when you're looking at stuff, and we already do that. You know, that's why you see lights kind of fade when you leave intersections. Like if you go to an area, it's got a lot of lights and stuff, and it kind of starts shifting between how close they are. It's to allow people to adjust. And that's it. If you got any questions, you know, I'm always happy to answer them. So.
I see it before some of these smiling faces around here says it. That's for Larry and me.
Thank you, Fred.
I just told Pat, she finally got her own way. Did you hear Kenny giggling over here or something?
Yeah, you want to define older?
Yeah,
I wouldn't, Mark.
yeah. I'll let the Highway Administration do that. What was that, Gene?
Whoever you made eye contact with.
Oh, okay.
It's anyone older than me.
Any other
If you don't have any
comments, questions for Mark?
I'll step down and get out of your way.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you,
You're
Mark.
doing a great job. Thank
Appreciate
you, Mark.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next is our road department, Dwight Morgan.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I bring you the road department report for September, October. Your encroachments were down about a third. I assume that's probably due to current interest rates. So, road signs, new, we were down on those. Repaired, obviously we're down on those. Another, we've replaced some signs that were beginning to fade and age. So some of those were out on Middle Creek Road. Big project we were working on this month. We started the first of the month, or actually 1st of October, excuse me. We're in November, so we did take about an extra week on the bridge deck replacement for Middle Creek Road. We closed it down 1st of October. It was opened up on Friday. We did have some extra work to do on this particular bridge deck replacement. As you remember, we did a replacement on Thomas Road. but we didn't have any abutment repairs, but on this one we did. And so we had to deal with the water that was there. It was a little bit of a challenge, but my guys met the challenge on this project, and it really looks good. So the only thing left to do on it is adding some guardrail, and the approaches will need to be paved at some time. It probably won't happen until next year. So let me go back here. And also our current roads that are getting repaved are Tabbs Hollow Road, which they started today. What's been resurfaced has been New Salem Church Road, which was a very long connector road, Summit Road, and Webb Mill Road. We did have 3 roads that we are trying the chip seal on. Happy Hollow Road, which is a narrow connector road between 434 and Joe Prather Highway. Stewart Road, which is a connector road onto Fort Knox, and Western School Road. And that's it. Any questions?
That chip seal, didn't we try that on, wasn't that the one we did on Amish?
No, we just did a gravel road. We just repaired the road that was there. It had it may have had some chip seal on it. I don't really think it did. But
It seemed like we had tried one before. I was just curious how it was working because I was thinking we already did.
Well, we've had chip seal in the past. Some of our roads that got blacktop were chip seal prior to that. So, this does seem to be an alternative where we don't have adequate funding for resurfacing some of our lower volume roads. Some of these, like Western School Road, they are a couple miles long, so they do have some length to them, and it basically costs about half. Cuts the cost in half.
And you can plow the chip seal?
Yes. Anything else? All right.
All right. Thank you, Dwight.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so there's some other written reports on the website to look at. That brings us to citizens' concerns or comments regarding some specific agenda item that we're talking about today. So if anybody has anything, you're welcome to come up now and speak. Just give your name and address, please.
Bobby Coleman, and I live in Vine Grove. Thanks for allowing us to speak up here. Last Friday at your resource committee meeting, there was a conversation on public speaking at Fiscal Court, which is in the minutes. So I am just up here to ask you guys to please reconsider allowing the public to speak on county issues during a Fiscal Court meeting, even if the issue isn't on the agenda. And, we appreciate it for your reconsideration, as public comments are important and can help decision makers identify solutions that may not have initially been considered. And I'm just asking you guys to please reconsider to allow speaking on county issues. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Bobby. Does anybody else have any comment, concern? All right, seeing none, we'll move on. The next item is an ordinance. This is a second reading of Ordinance 343, Series 2024, regarding the enhanced 911 emergency telephone service within Hardin County. Just a reminder that this is E911 fee increase from $50.58 to $65.58, which is a $15 increase. This will take effect next year, 2025 tax bills. And I think I covered at the last meeting the justifications and the reasons, for the first reading that we did. So is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. All right, any discussion? Hearing none, we'll have roll call, please.
Squire Clem,
Yes.
Squire Hicks,
Yes.
Squire Muse,
Yes.
Squire Pennington,
Yes.
Squire Saltzman,
Yes.
Squire Thompson,
Yes.
Squire Whitehead,
Yes.
Squire Yates,
Yes.
Judge Tall.
Yes, motion passes. All right, finally, we have our consent agenda, several items on here. Really, there's probably three major themes here in all of these resolutions. One are several board appointees, and I'll cover those. And I just appreciate each one of them stepping up to serve in these capacities. The second part is a bunch of block, second of all, there's a block grant process that we need to take care of, and this is in regard to the Family Scholar House project, along with ETCT. So we have that one to do, and then the third big area is the infrastructure, a bunch of projects with our water districts, and also starting up a broadband expansion project. So I'll just go through these fairly quickly here. So we have the first one, which is a finance type of where we're approving claims, November claims and October claims. We have the next section is Resolution 219, and this is related to appointment of Susan Cross and Joan Radford to the Hardin County Public Library Board. 2020 is related to appointment of Jeff Key and Rebecca Ates to the Lincoln Trail Ad Board. And then in addition to that, have Resolution 221, which is a reappointment of Scott Aligna to the Lincoln Trail Ad Board. Then we move on, and I mentioned the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, and this is basically an agreement or contract with Lincoln Trail Ad for professional services to take care of this grant. It's a federal grant, so there's lots of strings attached, lots of technical things that have to be dealt with. So Lincoln Trail Ad will take care of those for this grant. And this is a big grant. This is $1 million grant for the Family Scholar House. So it needed to be funneled through an entity, a government entity, and we agreed to do that. So very excited about it, and hopefully we will get the final go-ahead very soon so that ETCT can get started on that Family Scholar House project on their campus. The next section is Resolution 2023 and 2024 have to do with ARPA money that we are sending toward Hardin County Water District Number 1. This has to do with Marvin Sanitary Sewer Lift Station and Force Main upgrades. The next two resolutions, 25 and 26, again, ARPA money for the Hardin County Water District Number 1 Brizendine tank project. The next one, 27 and 227, 228, are for Hardin County Water District Number 1 again, and this is a kind of a smaller project, but an important one to install a fire hydrant on Highway 86 at their newer volunteer fire department station, Howe Valley area on Highway 86, and there wasn't a fire hydrant that was close enough to their station, so this will be very helpful to them to get that project done. We also have, kind of switching over to Hardin County Water District Number 2, Resolution 229 and 230 have to do with Gilead Church Road water line improvements. And so that's a very important infrastructure improvement there in the south end of Blue Oval SK project. So next one, actually the next four resolutions, 231, 232, 233, and 234, all deal with extending water line and sewer lines over to the Emergency Service Center land that we have had deeded to us from Bosk, or from Ford, and very excited about that. And then of course this will get the utilities over to it. And okay, so that covers all of the ARPA money funding. And see, the next, Resolution 235 and 236, 238, and 239 all have to do with personnel changes in EMS, 911, and solid waste. Resolution 237 is related to some financial transfers that we typically have. And the final resolution, Resolution 240, is related to a proposal for broadband expansion service. This is basically accepting a Brandenburg Telecom bid, was the best bid, to build out and expand broadband service for $772,000 worth. And the ARPA money that's going into that is half of that, $386,000. So we're basically paying in $386,000 of ARPA money, and Brandenburg Telecom is matching that. So we'll get a total of $772,000 of infrastructure there, broadband. And that's into the Eastview area of Hardin County. And then finally, the last item are the Community Resource and Community Support Committee meeting minutes of November 8th. So I think that covers all those. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes, I'd just like to take a moment to highlight the appointment of Susan Cross to the library board. Having known Susan and her family for many years, I'm confident that she will do and be a tremendous asset to the board. Her dedication to the community and passion for education will undoubtedly strengthen the library's mission and moving forward.
Yes, thank you. Anybody else? I agree with that. I got to meet her and was very impressed with her, so I think she's going to add a lot to the library board. Okay, no other discussion. Then let's go ahead and have roll call.
Squire Clem?
Yes.
Squire Hicks?
Yes.
Squire Muse?
Yes.
Squire Pennington?
Yes.
Squire Saltzman?
Yes.
Squire Thompson?
Yes.
Squire Whitehead?
Yes.
Squire Yates?
Yes.
Judge Tall?
Yes, motion passes. All right, so that moves us on into some final comments. Our county attorney, you have any comments today?
Just briefly, I wanted to thank members of the court and the public and those in county government who've reached out to me with my administrative assistant, Allison Pike, being so critically ill. Each call and text is really appreciated, and I just got some texts up here, more good news today, so I really appreciate your prayers and reaching out. She's been my assistant for 10 years, and we worked together 3 years before that, so you all know it's family, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Move on to our county clerk.
I'll just give you all a brief summary of the 2024 general election that we just had here in Hardin County. Hardin County has on the rolls 89,607 registered voters. We had 48,393 total votes cast for a 54% turnout rate. To give you a comparison, the statewide average was 58%, but we did move up from a 9% turnout in May to a 54% turnout in the general election. Almost 3,500 voted by mail-in absentee. We set a record for in-person absentee, almost 1,700. It's something my staff and I have been really trying to educate the public about. Those folks, especially those with mobility issues, but also those folks who will be out of town. Almost 1,700 compared to the last general election where we had 250. So a lot of growth in that area. So it's really helpful to those voters. Dwight, I don't know, Dwight left. His mom was in to vote, and she's always a joy when she visits the office. She's my favorite of the Morgans.
So I guess we're leaving.
We also set a record during the 3-day early voting, 13,877 folks. That's 28% of the total turnout, but it's 47% of all the in-person voting. So people really like that here in Hardin County. The only question I got about it was more locations, which we certainly will need for the next presidential race. The challenge we have is some of those public buildings are our schools, which are in session two of those 3 days. So we'll be looking for some options for the next election, probably the next presidential election. Election day, we had 29,340 votes cast. From about 6 a.m. to almost 11 a.m., we were doing 3,000 voters an hour, which is a staggering number. Then sort of the air got let out of the balloon, and the turnout really decreased. We can see in looking at this, people like to vote before they go to work or before they start their day, rather than at the end of the day. The 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. numbers were just really small. Not a lot of folks choose that time period, although it was the shortest rate for those folks who did. I have some thank yous, and I'm just going to blitz through these. I wrote these down, and I feel like it needs to be said into the record. I couldn't have done it without such an amazing support from the community. First and foremost, our Hardin County Board of Elections. John Ward and I serve on that by virtue of our position. He stepped out, but I hope you'll convey to the sheriff, we couldn't have done it without his entire team leaned in. Everyone who wears a badge was out and about, keeping everything safe and secure at all of our locations. I'm extremely thankful for that. His in-office administrative staff came over and checked on us and offered some assistance as well, so we really appreciate them. Becky Rawlings, our Democrat appointee, and Buddy Doyle, our Republican appointee. This was their very first election as a board member, so it's kind of like your first football game being the Super Bowl, and they handled it like champs. I'm very proud of them and consider them both close friends. Our poll workers did an amazing job. Nothing is ever perfect, but they did a wonderful job. We deployed the most number of poll workers we've had since I've been in office and since we've gone to voting centers, and it really went smoothly. Hardin County EMS, Joey Scott and his entire team, they didn't know they would be on parking duty for a few days out there, but they leaned into that. Joey and some of the other folks, I think Richard may have made some other visits to our polling sites, again, checking on security, checking on some other issues as well, making sure everybody was safe and secure. The City of Radcliffe mayor and staff, especially the staff at the Colvin Community Center, we couldn't have done it. We couldn't have moved as many people through that building as we did without them. The Radcliffe Police Department, the City of Elizabethtown mayor and staff, the Elizabethtown Police Department, EPD also did spot checks early in the morning. The folks who were on that early morning shift visited the polling locations at the times our poll workers were getting there. We really appreciate that. Mayor West Point, who helped us with the voting center up there, the Hardin County NAACP, our Magistrate Fred Clem, who fed our board and staff on Saturday. We thank you for your kindness and generosity. The entire Fiscal Court, you guys have really supported our efforts to make elections important here, and I appreciate that. Our media partners, the News Enterprise, Wacky Radio, Quixie and Wolf, and Hardin County Education TV, you all were important at pushing out very good information to our voters, and we really appreciate that. The Hardin County Schools, the Elizabethtown Independent Schools, who are our landlords for the day, we really appreciate them. Glendale Christian Church, West 84th Fire Department, also our landlords for the day. The Hardin County Jailer and staff, there is no way we could deliver and pick up that equipment in the time frame that we do without them. And those crews, counties our size and larger pay through the nose to private moving companies to deliver equipment, and that's a huge savings for us. The Nolan RECC that distributed voter information in every bucket they passed out this summer. The chair of the Hardin County Republican Party, the chair of the Hardin County Democrat Party, not only do they play their roles in their respective parties, both of them served as poll workers. And so they set aside their partisan hat for the day and served as an independent poll worker, and I appreciate both of them doing that. The Divine Nine fraternities and sororities helped sharing voter information and offer free rides to the polls to anyone who wanted. I applaud all 48,393 folks who participated in this election. Hardin County needs a loud voice, and the best way to do that is to show up at the polls. And finally, I want to thank my staff. They did a great job. They did a wonderful, wonderful job. Without a complaint, they worked very long, very hard days. For those folks who think we need to expand early voting, you can just crush clerk staffs in doing that because these folks go without sleep. But I want to especially highlight my election supervisor, Ashley. Most of you all know her well. She did an amazing job. I couldn't have done it without her. She was both my right and left hand during this election. She loves it. She's passionate about it, and she knows the law. I also want to thank, I left you off the list, Jenny. I apologize.
Okay.
Our sage legal counsel, Jenny Oldham, who was never failed to answer my call when I needed a quick answer or sound advice. So thank you, Jenny. I appreciate that. That's the end of my report. Thank you all.
Thank you. Of course, it kind of goes without saying. We'll go ahead and say the excellent job that you've done, Brian. I think it's been commented many times. I've heard it multiple times, and I tell people, just go talk to him and say thanks for him and his team. So thank you for a fantastic job. You led it all the way through. It was your first presidential election, and I thank everybody in the county. Hopefully I can speak for everyone that says thank you for doing the job that you've done.
Most everybody. There were a couple of
there might be a few
nattering
exceptions.
nabobs of negativity, but we accept all criticism, whether it's constructive or not. We take it to heart. Thank you.
Welcome. Okay. Thank you very much. Move on to Magistrate Yates.
Thank you, Judge. Yep, I just want to say, good job, Brian. I know that Radcliffe, the line, I don't think got much over an hour on any given day. My wife and I went in there on Saturday morning. My daughter voted for the first time. We was in and out in 15 minutes.
Great.
So, yeah, a lot better than previous experiences I had, so great job. The only other thing I have is the Emergency Service Committee meeting will be Thursday, November 21st at 3:30 p.m.
All right. Thank you. Magistrate Saltzman.
I yield my time to Mr. Smith.
I consumed it, didn't I? Thank you.
It's done. All right. Thank you. Magistrate Whitehead.
Yes, thank you so much to our county clerk, Brian Smith, for a tremendous, tremendous job. He and his staff, the poll workers, as he just expressed, it was amazing, and the organization, and it was like a well-run ship, and most impressed with all that they did. Thank you so much. Have a couple of announcements. They're a little bit, I guess, give you a little bit of time to prepare for this. We've got a renovation celebration at our Hardin County Public Library, and that will be December 13th. And you can kind of come and go from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. They've done a lot of work over there. They've done a lot of renovating and got some new programs in place. So if you get a chance, go out to the public library there on Jim Owen Drive in Elizabethtown and check that out December 13th. And also, I just want to announce that we will do a land transfer or a deed transfer for formal transfer from the county government to the YMCA on December 5th at 2 p.m. and the public's invited to attend that event. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Move on then to Magistrate Clem.
Just maybe a point of clarification. That transfer of deed will be to the Community Foundation on behalf to explore the YMCA.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. I too, Brian, want to extend my kudos to the team. I tell you, I've had several messages to personally thank you for that on my phone and on my Facebook page as well. So thank you very much for that. And our next Finance Committee meeting will be Tuesday, November the 19th at 3:30 p.m. And again, I want to remind folks, don't drink and drive, and don't text and drive.
All right, thank you. Magistrate Pennington?
Yeah, I just wanted to take a quick minute to say my gratitude and my thanks for all of the veterans in our lives. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't even have the opportunity to be able to thank Brian Smith and his team for what they've done. So I think it's important that we remember all of our veterans each and every day. Fred, Larry, thank you guys. And especially, I was sitting next to Brian at the veterans ceremony, and Mayor Gregory stated, if it wasn't for the veterans that stay around in our community, that continue to work in a magistrate role or work at our hospital, work anywhere in the community, if it wasn't for them, our community wouldn't be the way it is today. So again, just thank you to all the veterans that are in our community and doing the things that they do. And again, Brian, thank you. Thank you for the election that you've helped put on, and you and your team. And obviously, I was sitting next to you, and I saw everybody that's coming up telling you what a good job you've done. So I think it just goes to show how well it was working.
All right, thank you. Magistrate Thompson?
We cannot thank you enough for the smooth process. Elections in Hardin County were strong. Makes me proud. Thank God that we live here.
All right, thank you. Magistrate Hicks?
Thank you.
And then Magistrate Buse.
Just remind everyone, the next Public Works Committee meeting's Wednesday, November the 20th at 3:30.
All right, thank you. Reminder again of the next Fiscal Court meeting in November 26th, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. And a note too that I'll repeat myself, I guess, at the next meeting, but the holidays, Thanksgiving holiday, November 28th and 29th, the offices will be closed those days. All right, I think that covers all of our items. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second. Any objections? Meeting is adjourned.